How's that? All right,
Yep, works for me.
sounds good. So I guess if we're ready, I'll get started. Thank you all for coming. I'm Denise Massell, and I'm the coordinator here at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And today we're going to talk about applying for and preparing for the TAGME certification exam. So hopefully you are all planning on it, either initial or recertification, and we can talk about my recent experience as well. So I'm going to start out with a big thank you to Lynn, who has shared her expertise regarding the process, not only with me, but with everybody in ACURe who has been interested in participating in her wonderful sessions. She has coordinated and led the TAGME study group, which the few that I attended were awesome. And I'm going to put a big plug in for that now and later. And then just, being an all-around awesome cheerleader while I was working toward my recertification. So thank you, Lynn. All right, so we'll start out with why pursue TAGME certification. And this is just a list of the reasons that I pulled from the TAGME website, but they're all true. Professional recognition, definitely. Probably one of the biggest things you'll find is you will increase your knowledge and skills in a lot of areas that we don't always spend a lot of time in our day-to-day professional lives dealing with. There's also the possible increased earning potential that you may get with this, depending on how HR works at your institution, of course. Career opportunities and advancement, if that's what you're looking for. Hopefully you aren't going to leave the urology group, the urology GME group, but that's always an option. Personal achievement. It feels good to, at the end of the day, spend a little bit of time studying something that, affects your daily life, and taking a test and passing a test and feeling great about it. It demonstrates a commitment to the profession. I think one of the biggest reasons to do it is because we're all worth it. We're all worth committing to this and to showing the world that we are professionals, and we too have a certification process, and we've done it. And then at the end of the day, you will get a pin. So my pin is in my board back there, but this is just kind of a cruddy picture of my pin. There is another great video that I found on YouTube, but here's a link and I can share with anybody from the actual TAGME experts. So that's just another, if you want more in-depth information from obviously the experts, I would suggest you take a look at that. So the 2022 assessment cycle dates just came out, like I think last week. So the application submission dates are April 1st through June 1st. So it's coming up soon. It's a pretty small window. The application review and notification is then rolling through June 30th. So you would apply before June 1st, and then the process of review and notification would then go through the month. According to the schedule, the assessment scheduling then will begin on July 5th, and you will basically have between July and December to take the exam. The retake completion, if you need to retake it, is then extended through December 16th. So if you didn't pass the first time and you needed to retake, those dates have extended a bit. And then just for your information, TAGME certification is valid for 5 years. So who is eligible? Anyone who is employed as a GME professional, and I'm just going to read here what TAGME considers, and I think it will be obvious to everybody, and everybody here is eligible. But GME roles in residency, fellowship, institutional coordinators or administrators, managers, directors, DIOs, or other positions that directly and substantially support accredited GME programs. I think you're all involved, obviously, in urology GME, so you're definitely eligible if you fall within this 2-year date of employment. So if you have been employed as a GME professional for 2 consecutive years, and it doesn't have to be in the same specialty. So if you were employed in, say, internal medicine, and then you came to urology, but that time period was consecutive, you would still be eligible. For the initial certification, there are education credit requirements. For initial certification, it's 20 education credit requirements within the previous 3 years. And so if you go to the TAGME website, the 2022 like booklet of information was not available to me when I looked, I want to say the day before yesterday, but they will list in there everything that you can use for your 20 education credits that you have to supply when you fill out your application. So it would be things like attendance at a national, regional, or state conference or meeting, institutional meetings, or retreats. Up to 6 of the credits can be earned through webinars or podcasts or online modules. And you can attend like grand rounds, but they have to be GME related. So there are a variety, there's a whole long list of things that count as educational credits. I think you'll find that you probably will have fulfilled this. The first time so for my initial accreditation, which was in, I believe, 2011, I didn't really travel much or go to many regional meetings, and I still was able to meet the 20 education credit threshold with meetings that I went to basically regionally and locally. So I don't think you will find that you have any issues with that. The accreditation for maintenance of certification, which is what I took, I've taken it twice, but the last time around was my second MOC, is a little bit different. So if you are TAGME certified and you are doing maintenance of certification, you'll want to look and see what the requirements are where that's concerned. But that being said, you are probably all eligible to apply for TAGME certification unless you haven't been in GME for 2 years. Let's move on. How to apply. You'll visit the TAGME website and you'll apply through their portal before the June 1 deadline. You're going to want to use the name when you apply that is on your driver's license or other ID, because you will have to show that ID to the online proctor when you take the exam. Your PD will be emailed a verification, so they will receive a link. Mine, of course, ignored the link, and so I had to, send him numerous messages like, please go to the link and take care of this, and he did. There's a fee, and that is paid through PayPal. And then upon approval of your application, you will receive an email on or around July 5th to schedule the exam. Exam times are available 24/7, July through early December. So we'll move on to preparing for the exam. Once you've scheduled your exam, you are going to get a flood of emails from TAGME and Scantron, and they are long emails. So I would suggest reading them in detail and making sure that you have them somewhere that you can find them easily. It's going to give you all the information about how the live online proctoring works. It's going to give you all of the information about the technical requirements, and that's all of the obvious that we would think. You're going to need high-speed internet, you're going to need a webcam, because your proctor is going to want to look around your room. You're going to need speakers because your proctor, and a microphone because your proctor is going to want to talk to you. As a side note, I did not wear my headphones, and I have quite a bit of hearing loss. And so I think in retrospect, I wish I would have asked if I could have gotten some kind of special accommodation to wear my earphones, because I had a very hard time hearing my proctor. And I think they probably would have said okay to the headphones if I would have said, I'm having hearing difficulties and I need that. You'll need the microphone so you can connect to them, and then just kind of your basic browser compatibility, all of the browsers we would probably use. You'll have to download GoToMeeting in advance, because that's what you'll use to connect to the proctor. And then your pop-up blockers will have to be disabled. And so they allow you to configure your system and test everything in advance. And I would recommend doing that. I did that actually, I think, a few times, and still was very nervous the day of my exam for fear that something would go wrong. So this is an open book test. That being said, TAGME provides the open book to you. So you can't just bring a pile of books. You have to use the study guide that TAGME provides to you. And we suggest that you study all of the materials that they provide you. And probably want to start 4 to 6 weeks prior to the exam. You're going to want to read and read again to learn and understand and become familiar with the material. But the key point here is finding the material is going to be what you want to be able to find the material to be able to answer the question. So it's not going to be memorizing the material. It's going to be knowing where the material is and how to find it. You'll probably want to organize your study material in a binder. I used a paper binder, and I'll show that to you in a bit. One of my colleagues here at the University of Wisconsin who took this as his initial certification did use the like online version, and he said it worked fine for him, although he was a little bit nervous about that as well. But he said, you know, he wanted to be able to do the control find to be able to find what he was looking for. So for your testing skills, things to work on, things to look at, the glossary of terms and the FAQs on the ACGME website or in the materials that they provide are great options for review. You will not be tested on urology requirements. You will be tested on common program requirements and institutional requirements and all of the other modules that TAGME will provide you in the study guide. And then again, I'm going to put in another plug for the ACURe TAGME study groups that we will hold, and trying to attend as many of those as you can is great because this is good reinforcement and actually is a whole lot of fun. So if you're looking for a good time and want to learn a little bit, I strongly suggest you join us for those study groups. All right, so here is the study guide that TAGME provides you. It is really, really long. This is a printed version that Lynn provided me, and you can see how it's split up into the different sections. And the study guide is split up into the different sections. So by printing it this way and having it all kind of tabbed, you can easily find the section you're looking for. When you're tested in blocks. So when they test you on the ACGME site visit, all your site visit questions are going to be like one right after the other. Like say there's 5 of them. So you don't have to flip back and forth, you know, from site visit to self-study to common program requirements. They will come in blocks like that during the test. You can write it on your paper prior to the test. You can put sticky notes on your binder prior to the test. You cannot bring a pencil or pen with you the day of the test and write on it. A coordinator here, when I gave this talk locally, was like, well, what's the point then? And I'm like, huh? But you cannot take notes during the test. All right, so again, the ACURE TAGME study group sessions are a great way to prepare. We have upcoming dates planned in May, July, September, and November, and we would love to have somebody join us and present. So if anybody is interested, please email Lynn or I and just let us know if there's a date that you're willing to help out with, and if there's a topic you're interested here, or a topic you're interested in presenting. Below are some of the topics. So if you just take a look at them. I presented NRMP and I think ECFMG, which is a ton of information in the guide, but it was great for me to go through that, to prepare my slides for the study group. And I felt a whole lot better about that on the day of my exam, that I had gone through that, because that is a lot of material. So again, please, 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 if you're interested in being a part of this, email us. Otherwise, we'll figure something out, and Lynn and I will probably do whatever we don't find speakers for. So this is a little bit about the exam. Initial certification has 175 questions and a 5-hour time limit. The exam I took had 100 questions and was 4 hours. And then the retake is a few more questions and is 4.5 hours. So the thing everybody wants to know about the day of the exam. First and foremost, get a good night's sleep. You're going to have to empty your room of pretty much everything. So as you see behind me, I have a lot of stuff back here. My bobbleheads and that kind of stuff I left up and nobody said anything, but anything that looked like paper that was on my desk or papers that were on my file cabinets, I took all of them down, everything, and put it somewhere. You can't wear a watch. You can't, it's just like the in-service exam. You can't have your phone. You can't have a tablet with you. You can't have a computer other than the one you're using in the room. So you just pretty much have to clear out your room. A colleague here told me that he had a plant behind him and they told him to move the plant. He said, but then he had other things that were okay. So I would just err on the side of get rid of whatever you think a proctor is going to tell you to get rid of and have the room as bare bones as possible. I wrote my username and my password right on my binder that I had printed, so it was right there in front of me. The proctor will come on, check your ID, and then you have to do a 360-degree video scan of your room and underneath your desk. So you're gonna have to move everything around. This was the part of it that was the absolute most stressful for me. I was sweating bullets. I could not hear her. I was fumbling around. It was ridiculous. Again, here are the time limits. You do get a 10-minute bathroom break and the clock will pause. I think that's what it says, everybody. Yes, the clock will pause. I did not use the 10-minute break. I just powered through because I did not want to have to like move my camera around yet again. You can have your binder or PDF on your desk. This happened to me and it happened to one of my colleagues. I was like doing this. I was down here like flipping through my binder and the proctor said to me, "What are you doing? I can't see you. Please get back, make sure you're back in the camera." So that of course like freaked me out a little bit. So then I was moving my binder closer so I wouldn't be out of the camera range. So that's just something to take into consideration. You can have water in a clear container. So I had a bottle that I ripped the label off of. No pens, no note taking, as we said. All the material in the study guide is pretty much covered. But again, the questions are grouped by topic. You can flag questions to return to. I flagged probably 5 or 6, but other colleagues told me that they flagged a lot of them. So definitely something you can do in return to that. There are no acronyms or matching of terms. And I only say that because the first time I took the exam, that was really a heavy part of it. You don't need to cite where the information is found. It is multiple choice. So you're just going to figure out which of the whatever 5 choices are the best answer, of course. And that's that. The results are pass or fail and are shown on the screen at the end. They do not tell you what you got wrong. They do not tell you what you got right. You just have to exceed a score of 80% and it will say pass or fail. And then you're able to take a screenshot of it so you have evidence that you passed the exam. So I'm sorry, I have to just move this over to the side. So these are just some of my take homes. I found the program requirement questions to be easier to navigate. They were, of course, more familiar to me because it's something that we look at quite a lot. And so I would recommend studying the areas you are least familiar with first. I think went to ECFMG first and foremost, just because it was not an area that I was terribly familiar with. The areas I found most challenging were the self-study, NRMP, and ECFMG. Lots of info in those areas. Again, I was really glad that I did the TAGME session that I presented on those big topics because that really was helpful to me. I would say of my 3 TAGME exams, this was definitely the easiest. I finished in a little over 3 hours. Again, weirdly, you don't get a score. You don't know what you answered incorrectly, so that's kind of a bummer. And importantly, you won't memorize this material. It may seem daunting at first, but you don't need to memorize the material. You just need to know what you need to, where it is and how to find it, and quickly find the answer. And so it's pretty much like our job really on a day-to-day basis. Oftentimes things come up, we just have to figure out the answer to whatever we're being faced with at that time. It's exactly how it is. My biggest take home would be that in the future, if I did this again, I would use my laptop and I would probably go to like a local library study room where there's nothing on the wall. I did this here in my office with my giant screen, and what was I thinking? I'm moving this giant monitor, trying to get it under my desk. That proctor thought I was ridiculous. I know she did. So definitely I would just go somewhere where I know that, everything's going to be probably not going to be anything on the walls or around you or under your desk. And as I said before, preparing for this may seem daunting, but you definitely will learn a lot. You will really feel good about it at the end, and I recommend anybody give it a go. So that is the end of my talk, and now we can just, you guys can ask questions, and Lynn and I and whomever else can share some more experiences or answer your questions. But if it's okay, I'm going to stop sharing so I can see everybody. All right, there we go.
Okay, so I have something funny to say. I think it's funny how they let you have your bobblehead, because I'm surprised that could have been like where you had a camera set up,
I know.
right?
And I
Not
don't
a
know
plant, but a bobblehead.
yes, I know. I agree. Although, by the end of me, like with my computer trying to look at everything, that woman had probably had her fill in. It's just like, just let this woman take the exam and be done with it. It was stressful. And so I gave the same talk here at UW, and two of my colleagues also gave. One of them just took it, his initial cert, and the other one took hers, I think a couple of years ago. It might have been right prior to COVID, actually. And so they had, different experiences as well. But I think everybody was in the same ballpark when they said, the proctoring piece of it and having to like show the proctor what's going on around you was the absolute most stressful part of this. Not studying, not taking the exam, although I will say I took my exam at 7:30. That's when I scheduled it for, thinking I will be fresh, not really giving any thought to, well, now I have to quickly drink my coffee because I can't have that with me. I have to quickly eat my breakfast. And then I somehow plan to power through this 4 hours without like taking a bathroom break or having any more coffee. So that timing might have been, I maybe would schedule it for like starting at 9 a.m. in the future. My other colleague took it over the lunch period, and he's like, that was a mistake too. And he said, when I went to the restroom, I had like stashed granola bars in there so I could quickly eat while I was, so I could come back. So I don't know, just something to consider.
That's my question. You can do any time of the day? Like, okay, that was like my big question.
Yeah.
I'm nervous about that. I'm like, when am I going to take this?
Yeah.
Like Monday through Friday or weekends too?
I think weekends. I think it was 24/7 it said, and I assume that meant Monday through Sunday. So.
Yeah. So I have a question for you, Denise. When you took the test, I know when I took it, you had like all at the very top of your screen, all the blocks where you could choose which category. It's not right. No, yours went in sequence then?
I didn't go in sequence, but they were blocked together. But I don't think it necessarily was in the sequence of the way it's laid out in the study guide.
No, but but mine, I remember on the screen, like for instance, the first block said CPR, and then like maybe one said ECFMG or whatever, and you could click which area you wanted to start doing your test. You didn't have to go from one to the other to the other. It wasn't like a sequence.
Yeah,
you could go wherever you wanted to go.
Yeah, I couldn't choose.
Not. So
No.
then explain that to us then, because that's different. Like you had to start off with how it started.
Yes. So
And
it was
then keep
basically
going?
whatever the first question was that popped up was the first question that popped up.
That's
And then,
weird.
yes. Yep. And then you just answered whatever your 5 questions on NRMP, and then it went to the next block. But again, you could flag them if you
I
wanted.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To
Well,
go
okay.
back. But
Well, when
no,
I
it
took
did
it,
that. Yeah. No.
yeah. Because what I was going to say was the smart thing that I looked on the screen. I was like, okay, I'm going to go to this area first because I know I can beat it out and then go to this area and this area. And then the ones that I was least familiar with, I would do last because I wanted to make sure I hit all the ones that I wanted to hit first. But you don't have that choice, which really
I didn't have that
that's
choice.
weird.
Yeah.
Okay. We need to talk to them about that. That makes the most sense, right? I mean, it's like,
But of the 3 tests I took, I can't tell you how different this all was. The first time I took it, it was literally on one of those little blue books that you used to take essay exams in college, you know, the little with the lined paper. I had to drive to Rochester, Minnesota. And it was like, I think 6 hours long, sit in this huge room in the basement of the Mayo Clinic and, you know, write everything out on a piece of paper, and you had to cite where you found everything. So you had to put all of the citation, you know, numbers and letters from the program requirements. The second one I took was 2 parts, I believe. And there was no like test component of it. You took like an open book test, but it was just a Word document that you sent to somebody who then scored it for you. So they were all really, really, you know, of the 3 were really different. So who knows what will come, you know, 5 years down the road from now. I would assume this will probably stay the format, but they were all really different.
Well, I can say that the things that I kind of questioned when I did the test, when I did it, you flag them. I went back to those. And clearly they must have been one, and I changed the answers too. So clearly, if you kind of question things, flag them, go back if you have time. And I did change, and obviously they don't listen to anybody when they say your first thought is your only thought. No, 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 no. I went back, really thought about it, searched a little bit, changed them, and obviously I passed, so it must have worked. So flag the ones and go back and look at them for sure. The other thing I have to say is if anybody does want to do a TAGME session, I mean, like it could be with somebody. It doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I've never done this before. Why would I do it? But like you could say, I want to do it. Hey, say, Denise, I'm going to pick on you. Denise, I want to do this. Do you want to do this with me? Da, da, da. And then 2 people can do it. So it's not like you're doing it and, you know, feeling uncomfortable if you haven't done it before, whatever. 2 people can for sure. And the other thing is, as far as the mock, the requirements are a little different because they require more from you because you're taking a, you know, the maintenance. And the one thing is presenting or doing leadership roles. So presenting at even a session like this will count. And so it's a good, you know, good drill for you, and it does count. And I would consider it because it's a lot easier than standing up in front of a bunch of people and trying to give a talk. This is easier. It's a study group. So.
It really
Everybody agrees.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
That's it. That's all.
I have 2 more questions. So the study groups are done during work hours. We can just do it here, right? Okay, that was 1. And then 2, are y'all part of the Facebook GME group? I've seen stuff on there about them talking about TAGME, and they're saying some of the questions, like 2 of them could be the answer. Like, can y'all explain that? Like what they mean?
So somebody here, one of my colleagues said she struggled with that. I have to say, quite honestly, I didn't. If there were questions where you were like, this could be both of these answers, if there was one, it was 1 or 2. I mean, I really didn't come across anything that didn't seem pretty straightforward as far as what the answer was.
Did you experience like I had that they ask you this, you're going to find the same question twice throughout the exam? Because I thought that was like, that happened to me and I was like, oh, you know, like if you didn't get the first one right, you're going to get the second one's going to be wrong, right?
Yeah, I don't remember that either. I don't remember
Oh my
having
God,
that.
that was
Yeah,
just,
yeah. So
it
maybe
really
they've cleaned it
threw
up
me
a
off.
bit.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, there are, you know, there's a section of it where they talk about all of those different ACGME, oh, what is it? Like uh so like accreditation with you know what I'm talking about, Lynn, but I can't think of what they call it.
Yeah, they're called like all the different titles of like being accredited. And
Yeah.
one good lesson for that is the glossary of terms has all those names. So if you look at the name and then what it says, and if you know that or know how to get to that, that'll help you, because I don't know all those terms for your status of accreditation, like, you know, whatever they're called, like if you're egregious,
Right.
whatever, this or that, I don't even know, like, you know, and now emergency accreditation, I don't know, there's all these different terms.
And the wording for them is really similar, but it just is a matter of like, you know, just making sure you're looking at each of the ones that they list. Like they'll ask a question and then they'll probably list like 4 or 5 of those accreditation statuses. And it's just a matter of like, you know, one of my colleagues said she had a really hard time and didn't believe that that what they were asking was correct. I didn't find that. I mean, it was, once I went through everything, it was kind of obvious which one was the right answer. So you will find the right answer. But yeah, and you don't, nobody's going to memorize those terms. I mean, I can't even obviously remember what it's called, technically called, but it is, it's like the different accreditation statuses.
Well, then we need to make sure we have that on one of our sessions, that we
Yes.
have all those up,
Yes,
so
we should.
everybody's familiar with it. Yeah. That's
Do
all.
they try to pull a fast one on you and just word things very, very similar? Like the answers are really similar.
I didn't find that, but I will tell you, the first time I took my exam, the first or second time, they would ask you a question and you actually had to write an essay and you had to write what the requirements were, but you couldn't like plagiarize the requirements. So you had to reword the requirements in your own words. I'm sorry, that was so ridiculous. It was so ridiculous.
That's what you call a hazing.
Yes. And that was not helpful at all. It's like, okay, so I'm just rewording the requirements. Not helpful.
Okay, so I have something funny to tell you about that, because I was on the other end of that during that era. I'm not going to say how long ago it was. Where I was asked to grade somebody.
Me too. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
and
I did too.
Literally, and it wasn't just me. It was like, and we were on the phone. There was a team of us, and literally somebody had written something, and I thought that's exactly what I would have written. And I thought it was good. And one person was trying to argue about it. I said, look, I would have written the same thing. And I agree that this is, the person explained everything. And I think it's good. And I guess I gave the person the credit for it, but there was a debate back and forth. And I'm just like, oh my God, come on.
That's why this is so much better, because I scored a couple times as well, and it was so ridiculous. And the first 2 times I took it, it was specific to your specialty. So both times my TAGME certification that I have says anesthesiology on it. So it was specific. And when I scored the test, I was even appalled at how like poorly written the questions were. And I was like, what do I do about this? But I just scored it. And I think everybody that I scored passed, but I was pretty appalled. Whereas when I took this exam, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like the questions were out of bounds or were poorly written or any of that. So I think they have really improved it.
Hold on. I was going to show you mine. You get a certificate too. You don't get a pen, you get a certificate too, right?
I haven't received either one of mine, so.
You haven't gotten a certificate?
Or my pin.
How long does that take?
I don't know. I took my exam in November, so apparently a long time.
Maybe you never passed.
Don't jinx her.
I passed. I
I'm
passed.
just
It shows up on the screen. I passed.
I'm kidding. Oh my gosh. So I got to tell you something funny about the pens. So I think I have a couple because you get them every time you pass or whatever. And I've been to like some ACGME meetings and people, because at the time, a few years ago, you could take the exam they had them at the ACGME meeting. You could take them or whatever. And so these girls, I'd be sitting there and, we're talking thousands of people, they'd be wearing their pens so proudly. And I'm like, oh, you passed, you took the test, whatever, that's cool or whatever. And I'm like, I know that I'm going to be wearing my pen if I go to a meeting, but I have a pen, it's sticking in my drawer somewhere, but they were wearing them proudly. I don't know. I just thought that was funny that I'd be wearing my pen, but whatever. Maybe if we all get them, we need to all wear them now that I'm making light of the pens. But
on our GME letter jackets.
Okay. And then the other thing is when you get TAGME certified is they'll tag you. I've been asked to serve at the booth at ACGME. They have a TAGME booth. And I did that. And the person that was in charge just up and left. And I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, oh, no big deal, right? The questions that people were asking, I didn't know what I got myself into. I thought, oh my God, I could not wait for that girl to get back because I literally could not answer some of the questions. People were asking me all kinds of crazy questions. It's like, God, I didn't know what I was getting into. So it does open other doors. Sometimes things you want, sometimes you don't.
And TAGME appears to be one of those organizations too that's always looking for volunteers. So you'll see that on their website if and when you go to apply.
All right, so who's going to take the exam this year? That's what I want to know. Yay! Yay!
I have a question, I guess, because 2 years will be September for me, so I can still apply, right? Even though my 2 year will be September and just take it in October, November, correct?
I do not know that.
I don't either, but I'd say go for it.
I mean, I'm assuming so. And if I fail, I don't care because that means I'll just study more. Because if you fail, you have to wait till next cycle. Or
see, I don't know if you take it and you're not qualified at the time if they'll accept it, because I know there was a girl that at our institution and she kept saying that she didn't quite qualify. She didn't hit the right mark. So I don't know. You would.
It does say on the website. It does say on there. So I think you need to take a look at it because I think it does say if it's at the time of application or at the time of your exam. It might be at the time of application.
I think because I looked at it before and I think I was okay. When I'll go back and look again because if not, then I'll wait. But I don't know.
But I think you can, like, if you say you sign up for October or whatever, and you fail, I think you then have it, don't you, until mid-December for the retake. It's not like you have to wait another cycle, I think.
No, they want you. Yeah, you want to be able to do it the same if you can. Yeah, so that's why they extend it.
You probably have to pay more, but
you do have to pay something. I do know that. Yeah, I've heard that. So Amy, are you going to take it?
I plan to. I'm just hoping our GME office or department funds it.
Oh yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Yep. Yep.
Amy, maybe I'll see you in ACGME breakout again.
Yeah.
We met in our little breakouts. I'm like, oh, hey.
Yes, I recognized your name and you during this. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's funny.
I'll also volunteer to one of the presentations coming up.
Oh.
But I'll email you. I gotta take a look at the dates that you guys had listed. Are you gonna send this PowerPoint to the folks that are on this Zoom today or?
Yeah, we certainly can.
Okay. So
I can certainly, yeah. All
right. Thank you.
And thank you for volunteering.
Yeah, now I need to figure out what I'm going to volunteer myself for.
I'll volunteer too, but I'll let Amy go first. So you get
me. I have to tell y'all something.
Oh, no,
so
both of you go first.
So are both of you going to attend the ACGME meeting? Okay, I'm going to give you a tip because last year I did it and I went into, the exhibit rooms. And I went into the new innovations. I just popped in, and it's kind of like a virtual thing. I don't even know if anybody was in there or what. I don't know, but pop into all the exhibit things because your name gets entered into stuff. And I won their contest. I got a $200 Amazon gift card.
Oh.
And I never win anything. I was so like, yay, like, so y'all need to definitely do that.
Yeah, but
Take advantage of all the virtual stuff they got.
We're taking away your chance.
She's won
the only
already.
one, you would have been able to win all of them.
How
Who
much
gets
is
to win
the
one?
registration for that? Oh, sorry.
Huh?
How much is
You
the
know,
registration for that?
How much is the registration? I don't know, but they're getting ready to go up like in the next week. So look at
$4.
but they're getting ready to go up. So you need to
Yeah.
register like really soon.
So does your guys' institution fund that for you, or how do you
Mhm.
pay for that registration? See, we don't have that.
I have a credit card.
Yeah,
You
I
do
would get in
perm-
trouble.
Cha-ching!
I have a credit card too through my work, but yeah, I would.
Why, you can't use that?
Yeah, what?
No, like my department will not fund that. They only fund like so many conferences, and I already.
Well, how many have you been to? Huh?
SAU, and I'm also doing like an undergraduate medical education certification that they've already funded for me. So I don't know that I can get them to do the ACGME.
Listen, worst
come
they can say
on.
is no. Try it anyway.
I
Worst
think
they
you
can say is
should.
no. Yeah,
I
absolutely.
would take advantage of everything you can. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do TAGME, and then I'm going to do the ACURe meeting, and then I'm going to do another SAU meeting coming up in January.
Yeah, I want them to do the the TAGME for sure. But yeah,
Mhm.
we'll see.
Well, you know what's interesting? I was the first person that got TAGME certified at my institution. That was years ago, and I've been recertified. Now they've come out since all of that, and my department paid for me. Now it's a requirement of all the coordinators, and our GME pays for it. So I was on the cutting edge. I was just doing it just because, like, you know, Denise, your presentation, I wasn't looking for a raise or whatever. I was doing it for my own personal, you know, me personally, and it's opened a lot of doors for me. So I highly recommend it. And then the maintenance, yeah, like Denise said, it's nothing like the other ones. The first one, I think they don't make it easy for you, but you can pass. And all the coordinators here, they're all passing. So they're all getting certified. So it's a good thing.
Did you say
And
your
now,
department did
yeah,
pay?
go.
Did you say your department did pay for you before GME did? They did. Okay.
Yeah, my program director, he's all about anything to, you know, meetings and things that he encourages it. So he's, you know, he always says yes to things. So I'm lucky there, you know. Yeah. And then our institution, and I think Amy and I've talked about this, and they're actually, if y'all are going to the ACGME, I ought to send you this information. Our institution is being represented. They were going to just do a poster, and the ACGME came back and said they want them to do a presentation, and it's my institution, EVMS Pathway to Promotion. They started this program, and I'm actually involved in it now. I'm doing it. So I'm really excited about that. They're going to talk about it because every month I have to do these courses. It's like webinars and then take a test. So I'm up, it started in September and it ends like, you know, in May, and then I have to do a presentation and then I'm actually qualified to go up to my next level. I'm not hired by the school, but it would be like if I was, since I'm not going to get a degree, it's like I'm got a degree. So then I'm bumped up as far as my position. And actually, they never really did say what I am, but my program director says I should be the level 3, like getting a master's. So if that happens, it's like, yay, because I'm not going back to school. But it's for those, they came up with this program for those of us that we're not going to go back to school and get a degree. but we're working at a certain level that we should get bumped, and we're never, and if they don't have these programs, you're never going to get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? So they are doing that for us. So, and the actual courses that I'm doing and the tests are not that hard. So anyways, I'll send you to that presentation. Y'all might want to be interested in seeing it, or yeah, getting the slides or whatever.
Yes, please. That would be great. Yeah, I wish more people would like your school there, Lynn, because not everybody can go to college. And I mean, I went to college and I'm not doing anything that I went to school for. So what's the big deal? At least in your position, you're working on what you're actually working with. So.
Oh, and then let me tell you this. Okay, so that's me, but then there's another coordinator at our school. She had a bachelor's degree, and she did the master's in public health at our institution, and her project was our TAGME study group here that we did, because they did modules that they came up with to get everybody to study for the TAGME. So they worked on that project, and she got her master's because of that. So.
I just looked at the thing. I'm not qualified because you have to be 2 years by the final day of application period. So
That stinks.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be really ready next year, right?
Yeah. Well, because I mean, technically I started training in June 1st, but on paper through HR, it wasn't until September 1st.
Well, but what if, I mean, they're not going to call your HR. They're only going to ask your PD. So would your PD say she started June 1st?
Well, how do you, what do you submit to say you've been there, whatever? Like, how do they do that?
You just tell them.
It's just a letter.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a letter. Oh, because it's technically been 2 years, June 1st. And that's the final day. Oh my God, that's the last day of application, right? Because you said April 1st to June 1st. But they review on June 30th. Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. And Amy, I just saw your chat. I am a horrible test taker too.
Yes. And actually, you know what? Think about me, because I'm much older than y'all. I haven't been to school in freaking forever. So, I mean, yeah. And taking a test and it's a time test, because I'm one of these people, literally the first time I took the test before this go round, I was like, I'm so thorough and so I'm like a perfectionist, that for me, it doesn't do me well to take a time test, and I didn't even finish half my questions. I was like, oh my God, time's up. That was my first go round. Now I got, obviously a little smarter, whatever, and have a little strategy, but I don't know, now that Denise is saying it just goes one question after another, my strategy to go hit what I know the best first seems like that's a smart thing, but literally you will have plenty of time after the test. If I can, you can for sure. Cause a
lot of time after the test to what, cry?
No, to go back. I will say this, you need to figure out how many questions there are, how long you got, and how long you got per question. That's one of your strategies right there. So for instance, I don't know, I'm just throwing out, if say there's 100 questions and you're giving so many hours, you have a minute to go on each question, I'm using that as an example, then that's what you need to keep in mind as you're going through and taking this test. That's what I would first say would be a smart move. And then obviously being very familiar with the material. So if you have to go back and look at something, and one thing in the material, a lot of the documents have an index at the beginning that, say, for instance, the common program requirements has an index, and it has listed what everything is, and you know what page right to go to, but some of them do not. And those are the documents you got to be familiar with. I don't know. I can't remember. There's one or two, like the match and there's a couple that don't have like an index. So you need to be familiar with those documents that you can look and know where to find things. That's one thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I did use the index and it just flipped, If it was something
And
in the
I mean, you
common
need to
program
decide,
requirements, just flip right to it.
and you also need to decide, I'm not going to be on a computer. I'm not good at doing the control and find. I relied, my binder was I thought was going to be my thing, you know? And so when I looked through things, I did not go online, I didn't do any of that. I had a binder and I just went through the questions and answered. And then the things I tagged is when I went back and looked in my binder. But I know some people that literally looked up every single question. If I did that, I would have never finished, but that's me. There's some people that are quick and can do control, whatever, and, you know, and they're quick on that. Good. And if you can master that, good. But I didn't do that.
But were there any that you answered that you didn't, like every single question that I answered, I looked in my binder. Even if I thought I knew the answer, I still looked in the binder, and I still had, like I said, it was 4 hours. I was done like
I didn't do
3 hours
that.
and 10 minutes or something.
I personally didn't do that, but I know a lot of people at my institution, they said they looked up. And one in particular, our director of GME, she took the TAGME test because she's the one that laid out the Blackboard modules that she developed for our institution. So she wanted to see how the test rolled. And she said she looked up every single question, and she said every question that had an answer. And she said she went through and looked to make sure that you could find them. And she did for every single question to pass the test. So I don't know. That's not me, but it can be done. Maybe we need to take a session on how to take a test. I will say this, one of the coordinators here, and one of the sessions we can do that really helped is she literally, and we did this on some of our sessions last year, is we literally just had something and she gave you time to find it somewhere, and then you had to say where you found it. You know, so you got a drill on how to find something in a document pretty quick. We did those drills, which is smart. So if you do enough of those, then you're going to figure it out.
Is that like an exam boot camp? Maybe we can have a boot camp virtually for that.
And then if you don't get it, you're going to get a hazing. You're going to get a slap somewhere.
So
got it wrong.
Liz asked a question. I don't know if you can have both the electronic binder and your paper binder. Quite honestly,
I had both.
You had both.
I had both. The electronic is on your computer already, and you can have a binder. Yes. And your binder was like the binder you showed was what mine looked like. And my binder was like this thick. It was big. I got it at home. My husband took it out of I have it up on my top closet. I won't throw it away. Hey, I know somebody that the minute they took the test, they said they burned everything in the TAGME binder. And I was like, I still have my binder. I can't get rid of it. Why?
Well, now I have a question about that, because you said you have the binder and the electronic, because I was wanting to do it here and use two screens, but
you
can't do two screens.
No.
Can't do two screens.
No.
Okay, well, there we go. So how do you, is it like you have a test on half of the screen and the binder on the other half? Is it split?
It's on the screen.
It was not, I don't think it was for me. And so my colleague here said that he was a little bit freaked out and had asked the proctor if he could pull it up. And the proctor said, okay, but it wasn't, I don't think it was there available for us.
Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Oh, things have changed.
I think.
Well, then that's weird. I think, well, when I took it, it literally, when you popped up on the screen, well, I didn't take mine, and mine was at a testing center. It came up, it was on the screen. Like I said, it had blocks that you could click where you wanted to go to start taking. And then if you had questions, it was like a little sidebar or something that you could, I never did the online.
So you have to close everything out. You have to prove to the proctor that everything on your computer is closed out. And that's why he was like, I don't know that I can pull up a PDF and have it there when she's going to tell me I have to close everything out. And you're in the GoToMeeting on the GoToMeeting platform. And
can you get out of it by mistake? That would be me. Look at, you're off.
Yeah, but then you have to do the whole, show them your room again. And
like you get out of a Zoom meeting. I'm out of here. Oh my God. Well, you come back tomorrow when you get your shit together, right? my God.
So mine was a little like a power outage because I'm moving my stupid monitor around and it's pulling on the cables. And I think at one point it did, like, you can only imagine. I'm literally sitting here like sweating, can't hear the woman, can't understand her. She's rolling her eyes at me. I'm pulling my monitor out of the wall. Oh, give me a test any day of the week. Give me a 25-hour test any day of the week. But yeah.
So what are you saying that we need, like when we did our interviews, we had a test Zooms, we have to have a test
Yeah, right.
of our test, right?
Exactly.
Test our test.
And now Amy's going to
that we're not
show us
stressing out?
underneath her desk.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to stress over this now. Okay. We have to do like, what do you call it? When virtual testing 101. That'll be the next session.
Well, I thought
Wow.
I was incredibly stressed out just because I'm older, but the person here at UW who took it is much younger than me, and his stressors were the same stressors that I had. So I don't think it was an age-related thing. I think,
well, at least you could use your monitor. My monitor is attached to an arm, so I wouldn't be able to go anywhere close to under the desk.
Yes. Yep.
So then get back to Cody's question. Did you have a binder, Denise?
Yeah, I had a paper binder.
Okay. So I guess maybe just have a binder would be your best bet, because then if they have it on the screen, great. But if not, you have, that's what the way I felt, you have a backup.
And I
You have
wanted
something.
I wanted to use the PDF and be able to do the Control F, but at that point I was, I think, so just filled with anxiety over the whole technical aspect of it that it's like, I need to use what I know, and I know how to find my way through a paper binder. So that's what I did. Right or wrong, you know, I guess if I had to do it again, I would just say, well, we have access to this PDF. I'd like to be able to pull it up and see what the proctor says. But
The other thing you need to do is the night before the test, put your binder underneath your pillow. Right now, do you remember that when you were a kid? When you had a big test, put it underneath your pillow and you'll do good the next day or whatever. I don't know.
I did that one time and I passed with flying colors.
So Lynn, does that mean
that
that you were sitting in an upright position because your binder was so big?
It was just a paper that I had, and I had studied, but for some reason I stuck it under my bed, my pillow, and I woke up, took the test, and I passed. I was like, oh, I have to try that again. So.
Oh my God, that's funny. You need to add that to your presentation, Denise.
yeah, there you go.
And one of the tips, put your material under your bed, under your pillow.
That's right, Amy. Watch out for rogue tooth fairies.
Oh yeah, do you need to go?
I'm going to have to go. Yeah, I have a dental appointment.
Okay. All right.
Well, thank you very much, Denise. That was
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Presentation.
Thank you, ladies.
Very helpful.
And I'll
Good to
send
see
you all the
everybody.
slides, and
Thank you.
we would love to see you all again at a study session.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Take
Bye.
care,
Have a
guys.
good weekend.
Thank you, you too.
Bye.
Thanks.